I was super excited after Pastor Cody told me, kind of reached out to you because I was super excited to hear about your summer as you'd served at Camp Seggie especially. So why don't you fill us in a bit, like what were some of the things you did, some of the activities you did, like your role this summer?
So I was a junior counselor, so that's like you have your seniors, you have your juniors inside the cabin. So I wasn't super like I was like the big brother inside of the cabin. I was like there with the kids. I was doing the same activities as them. Sometimes I'd be goofing off with them, because I wasn't in the most responsible role. So it was it was fun. It was fun, but I was still like responsible with them. And some of the activities that we did, like rock climbing. I was also doing a little bit of lifeguarding through there, so we did like pool, and then there's this thing called the Whippet, which is like it's like an obstacle course on water in the ocean. We're really thankful to have that. But yeah, so probably my favorite activity was doing the Whippet because they're not allowed to shove each other off, but we're allowed to shove them off of it. So it's just free game. Like especially since I'm a lifeguard, they're not allowed touching me, so I could just chuck them off the Whippet, and then they're crawling back on. There's like three of them trying to go on it, and then I was the assistant lifeguard, and then the senior lifeguard go, "You trying to shove a lifeguard off the Whippet? Like get off!" And then like they'd kick them off, and it was so fun. Yeah,
It does sound like a lot of
it
fun.
was a lot of
Yeah,
fun. Yeah.
it's why I do youth ministry at all, right? For those
Yeah,
moments,
yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah. Also, so obviously that was a great experience. What were, as you kind of look back over some of the weeks at camp, what were maybe one or a couple of like highlights, like some of your favorite experiences?
Probably one of my favorite experiences was being able to experience with worship night for counselors every Wednesday during our regular weeks. And so it was really great to be able to be with some of my close friends who I've known well, some of them I knew last year because I LIT'd there. Some of them I knew from that. But worship night is completely different where I get to see them. And I don't know, everybody's kind of vulnerable, and you're all in tears, just praising the Lord down in the basement while the kids are upstairs watching a movie. Sometimes, like whenever we're at our pauses, we can hear the movie upstairs, so it's funny. But I don't know, it's a really great experience. And that's probably one of my highlights, being able to do that, and also being able to be Cameron McFadden. He's our program director, and so is Addison Bruce. And so for one week called Survivor, which is like it's our most popular week at camp. It's for like our grade 7s to 10s or 11s. And so what I did was I basically just got to help with the games, and there's like punishments to go along if they lose, right? I got to come up with the punishments, and that was my favorite part of it because I didn't have to take any of the punishment. I just got to be a part of it and get to see what everybody else is going to do. And the best part was most of the time it was my best friends. They were losing the games, and they'd come up to me afterwards and be like, "Why?" Like they'd just be like, "Why?" And it wasn't super bad. Some of them got chucked in the pool fully clothed, but it was just yeah. Those are probably some of my highlights. But definitely worship night was probably one of my favorites because I don't know, I just got to connect with people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are there any things kind of through the summer? Were there any times where you're like, man, I feel like I see God working right now? Like, yeah.
Yeah, definitely during hockey ministry, that was a big one because there's a lot of boys there. They come and they're there for the hockey, full on. That's where they come for. Their friends are telling them, "Oh, there's so much hockey," and they come in there. They don't. Some of them don't even know who God is, and it's kind of sad at the start. But then when you get to know them, it's so fun. They're such a great group of guys. Like the cabin I had. I got to be with Ethan Ross. He was super fun to work with. It was our second week working together, so we already known each other pretty well. We knew the ropes, and but the boys, there was some edginess between the cabins. Like some of the campers, some decisions had been made and they weren't super happy about them. But after that, we actually had we had Adam McQuaid come in one night, and he kind of like helped open up their hearts because they were like, this guy's an NHLer, he's won the Stanley Cup, and then they come in, and then after that, there's the creator of Hockey Ministries, the guy who founded it, Don. He came all the way from Quebec. He's almost 80 now, and he was on the ice with them for a couple of days, and he was also there, and he spoke for about 4 hours one night. And I was so happy because I got to see God working where some of my boys who didn't know God at all, they stayed there for all 4 hours, just sat through it, and they were just there listening about him. And then in quiet times, they were just so open, and they were so great. And it was probably one of the best moments out of the whole summer was being able to see that cabin grow.
That's really significant, Walter, that you were able to be a part of that. That's really cool. Well, here's my kind of my last question. What's something that you felt maybe kind of was it through chapels, conversations, whatever? Was there anything that you felt like God was teaching you, or any way He was challenging you to maybe grow in your relationship with Him this summer?
Yeah, 100%. Where there's a lot of kids that were asking questions about. Um, they were asking questions about Revelation, which was like it was. They were the kids knew a lot about the Bible, and it was this one week. It was Jungle Book week. It was mini week, which was so funny because these kids are in like kindergarten. They're asking about the Book of Revelation, and they constantly be like, "What happens whenever this happens?" And I'm like, "I didn't know at all." And so I ended up like deep diving into it and like looking up stuff, and I was able to answer some of the questions, but some of them I don't know, it was definitely giving me experience to be able to be like, this is where I need to grow, and this is where I need to be able to say, like, it gave me a good understanding of where I should put my boundaries and how I should, teach these kids to make sure that they keep their innocence kind of thing, but also they're able to learn about God in a way that it's safe for them kind of thing.
That's great. Well, Walter, thank you so much for sharing a bit about your summer, what God's doing in your life. Can we give him a hand for getting up here? Thanks, Walt.